Good evening. I'm Patrick McCray, and we're here for Jewel T. Sains Presents, and I am joined by the fabulous,
Alan Gallant.
and we are here tonight to talk about Crimson Tide,
Mm.
and it is one in our series, maybe the last in our series, I don't know, of films remembering and celebrating um, Gene Hackman, the great Gene Hackman, who I don't know, ever gave a bad performance ever, and this was a movie I had not seen. Alan spoke very highly of it. Of course, I'd heard about it. Um, and so this was going to be a first for me too. I think since we know that tonight was my first night of seeing it,
hmm
did you see it in when was it, 95 when it came out?
I believe I did. My memory of the first time, because I've seen it like 4 or 5 times.
Hmm.
My memory of the first time is a little murky, but I think I saw it in theaters. I'm pretty sure I did.
This was a movie that gave me an experience I have had in horror movies, and I think it is a horror movie to a certain extent.
Mhm.
And with a couple episodes of the final season of Orville, where I wanted to turn it off. It was so tense. It was so realistically wrought
hmm
and tense, and had such a slow burn that I was, if the power had gone out and I didn't have to watch it anymore, I would have been happy.
Yeah.
That is meant as a positive review.
Well, I think there's a genuineness about that, a truthfulness about that. And it's also this kind of anxiety is coming from all sorts of different perspectives, which means it's layered and it's unrelenting at certain points in the script and in certain points in the movie. It's just that can give you the creepy crawlies. Absolutely.
To see powerful people absolutely convinced that the wrong thing is the right thing,
Yes.
and they are totally undermining what the right thing is trying to do,
hmm
is just awful. It really is. I mean, I know that's a puerile statement, but because it's just so simple-minded, but it's true. It's dreadful,
It
and
yeah.
you at least the movie gives you the relief of seeing the good guys take a page right out of that hymnal
Right. To push that aside finally in the final
and
analysis.
get it back.
Yes. Yeah. There,
So I
I mean, the one thing that's also redeeming in terms of that just total anxiety is you get certain people that are having these conflicts, the same conflicts that anybody might actually realistically have underneath, uh, falling underneath the discipline, the so-called discipline of the military. And you're supposed to obey your senior officer, and you're supposed to do all these things. So you have the Viggo Mortensen character who is conflicted that way, but he finally makes the right choice because he goes back to. You can see it in his eyes. He's going. He talks about thinking about his family, and then he goes back to it without saying anything about it. You can tell in that last moment he's thinking about, okay, if I do this, my family is gone probably, because we are a nuclear holocaust here. So, okay, I guess I won't do it. I screwed up by letting these guys take these pistols and da 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 da. It's, yeah, I mean, it's who's doing the mutiny is not clear to an audience who sees this picture for the first time and is not familiar with military protocol. Who is the mutiny? What is the mutiny? So that adds to the anxiety for some people.
Yeah.
Um, but ultimately, the mutiny is done by the establishment here, not by the XO.
Yeah.
Um, uh,
Who's clearly right.
yes, he is clearly right. It's like there are other ships; they have missiles. If we haven't heard, and there is a war, they are launching. We can wait in case that's not the case. And of course, it turns out that the EO message is stand down.
Yeah.
The incomplete message was going to be stand down.
Hmm.
That they did, but yeah, it's interesting. Hackman again uses it's a form of practical machismo that he has when he wants to use it. It's authority. It's authority is what it is more than anything else. He uses this ability that he has to take command literally in films as an actor, and he uses it as a commanding officer who is so cocksure of himself and has been for 20 years, and he has gone through and he's probably won every cluster and every star and every ribbon, throughout his naval career. And he also likes it. There's also this dynamic of the old guy and the young guy, and he considers the young guy to be a challenge to him even before he actually challenges him in any way. Mm-hmm. There's that going on. So again, another layered performance. One of the things that really struck me and gave me sympathy for him, even though he was incredibly wrong, in my estimation, was his relationship to that dog, that terrier. He clearly spent a lot of time with that animal as an actor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that animal was like, every time you look at him, be with him, not push pull on on the thing. He was there. And I thought, that's a detail. That's commitment right there. To get the dog to commit to you in that relationship that's been, previous. That's a moment before relationship.
I don't think Gene Hackman is a guy who ever said, we're shooting 6 days out of 7. This is the 7th day. I'm having nothing to do with thinking about this production. I don't think he ever said that.
No, I don't think so either. I think he was too proud of his craft to do that, and probably felt, regardless of how he felt about the day's work, he probably felt a commitment to at least his fellow acting partners, if not the director sometimes.
So he might have taken that dog home.
Maybe. I don't know.
If the trainer would let it happen.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I think he spent a lot of time with him. He may have, allowed him to be in the trailer with him at times, and that sort of thing. So
try and stop him.
Form a bond. Seriously.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what he did with Ned Beatty also.
Yeah, formed a bond.
He brought him to the trailer.
Hang out in the trailer necessarily, but
they, walk him to the bathroom. He wasn't going to go in.
No.
But just reassure him he wasn't going to fall in.
Yeah.
You'll be okay.
I wonder if Ned had anything like that happen to him on the set of Deliverance. That would not be good.
We'll have people following him to the bathroom. It's horrible. God. I think Ned said he later kind of regretted making Deliverance, by the way. What a surprise.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, after he became more established, and I think from that perspective, he may not have wanted to do that role.
That was the thing. It's like, I would like to cross the street without hearing that I have a pretty mouth.
Right. Yes.
Things like that. That would, that's a thrill ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's only working with a Cox and a Dickie.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
They keep dressing me in funny hats all the time because they thought that was a good idea.
Speaking of funny hats, detail I really liked in this was that the captain got a very distinct hat.
He did. That nice red hat with the clusters on it.
And
it says,
that's a bit of established naval tradition. That so at any distance you can identify the captain.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of times that hat's black with all the oak clusters and leaves on it and stuff. But he chose red one because it's Crimson Tide and it's Roll Tide, Alabama.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. Now, speaking of which, I was glad that the movie was finally honest with its racial politics. Because they're crackling around the edges.
Oh, yeah, sure. That I mean, the primary relationship, it's there, and talks about the great state of Alabama and all this sort of thing when he's getting his crew gun, wound up and stuff. So it's not
just the all white horses. Yeah, they're born black.
Yes.
kind of, that it's obvious about that. And then suddenly the fact that it's the USS Alabama again comes back to haunt you. It's like, nothing good's gonna happen here.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah,
It's the only capitulation that Hackman's character makes as the captain too. Is he's wrong about the Lipizzaner stallions? They are
yes, he is.
Spain. They are from Spain. He says. So he sort of gives him a half nod.
How about the supporting roles in this? Those
Uh,
performances.
it's a pretty fantastic cast when you
It
get.
really is.
I thought George Zunza. I thought he quit a couple of years before this. He quit doing Law and Order. He had demanded more money because he was a primary character, and they said, "Go away. We're going to hire somebody else," and they did. And of course, that was greatly successful anyway.
Who was that? Wait, hold on, wait.
It was I can't forget. It was damn it.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm blanking out on it now. But I mean that show has had a number of chief detectives come and go over the years because it's been off 25 years. So, but anyway, he was on his way to having this movie. Was like, oh, this guy's going to have a movie career as a character actor. He's going to be, it didn't really superbly pan out that way. I mean, he was a working actor and maybe still is. I don't know. But he's really good in this movie. He's fantastic. He's the one who's conflicted by. He's by the book, and he loves his captain, but he's only conflicted emotionally. He's not conflicted in terms of what his duty is. So he's with the XO the whole time.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be, but he's with him. And then later he wants to be because he sees, okay, the captain is off his rocker at this point because he's lost his authority. And now we're seeing a bit of the fabric of the guy underneath. And the guy underneath doesn't have a life without that authority. So he's going to fight to the death for it, even if it means mega death.
Yeah.
So
there's
that.
James Gandolfini.
Oh, I hated him in this movie. He's just
absolutely
hateful. He's a dog.
Really awful.
It's a total dog in this film. He's great. I mean, he's fantastic. He's one of those guys, the so-called natural on screen. The so-called. I mean, obviously he had a great deal of training to get him that way, but he's relaxed into his point of view and his character. He knows what he's doing, and it's not, he's not actorishy or anything like that. And this is early in his major film, major television career, and he's still about 7 or 8 years away from The Sopranos at this point.
Maybe. It was around that. Sopranos was 99.
Oh, was it 99? So okay, 4 years.
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. He's great. His character just glories in sticking guns in people's noses and plotting against certain people. And I think maybe in his catalog of character traits, maybe he doesn't like black authority either.
Could be.
Yeah. It could be that certainly would be a legitimate way to push him in the direction that the character goes.
Yep.
But there are also, there's certain ones that are just absolute loyalists to the captain, and this is where you get to see the difference between regulation and obedience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the necessity of the former.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Which is why there's a failsafe. Which is why the XO can disagree.
The movie is full of fail-safes, and
Yeah.
I like how specific they are about all of that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a terrific film, and needless to say, Denzel Washington is just one of the most perfect, watchable, likable, intelligent uh, uh, strategists
Hmm.
as an actor
Yeah.
that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm used to things like Fences, where his character is kind of either in denial, or coming from the gut, or something like that.
Mm.
And in this, he's a real chess player.
He is. He's responding. He's responding and he's creating action both in this film. I mean, everything an actor does is probably a response to something else.
Sure, it's
But
pinch and ouch.
yeah, yeah. But also that response might be initiating too. So, and he does some of that.
Hmm.
He does plenty of that in this
Who,
movie. He initiates.
Washington?
Yeah. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, sure.
he,
Well, he initiates
he's
the whole.
responding to this crazy stuff that's going on, but he's also like, I'm going to take charge. I'm going to initiate this action, this action, this action, because you are now going to respond to me.
He never has a moment of doubt,
No, he
and
doesn't.
I love that about him. We
He's
too much doubt sometimes.
also because of who he is in real life. He's really good at playing moral centers. Sometimes he plays them. Some characters have a moral center that's not so great, but he's real. Regardless, it's there, and it's it's strong. Normally, particularly since he's become Bank, which has been quite a while now. He typically plays moral centered characters that have a positive moral center.
Yes.
Training Day is one exception, but he has a moral center in Training Day. It's about dog eat dog. It's about who's the top dog, and
Hmm.
that makes everything okay.
Interesting. Well, in
Uh,
my book, the top dog is Gene Hackman.
yeah, absolutely.
Alan, anything else about this particular film that you?
I would really love to know from some of the actors that were in it, and plenty of them are still with us, uh, what kind of sets these were. Were
I
they
was wondering if they were
completely,
on gimbals or not.
yeah, were they completely enclosed? Were they open? Probably both. There probably some that were completely enclosed, or maybe open on one long, because some of these sets are just ridiculous. I mean, they're um, unless they got to use a retired, submarine, but I doubt that. I seriously doubt that. I think these were probably all builds, which is pretty amazing. Pretty amazing stuff.
Well, here
Well,
we are,
here we are.
and it is amazing stuff.
Yes.
The movie is. I don't like military kind of things like that, and as entertainment, and I think that keeps me honest,
Mhm.
because when one comes by that is so gripping and so spellbinding that I love it,
Yeah.
I think that is the hallmark of a truly great movie, and a truly great recommender
Hmm.
of that movie, and that would be you. So
Cool.
thank you for bringing it on.
I
And yes,
I found that this is in the same genre category as Hunt for Red October, but I like this movie better.
it's a
I
very different move. Now you've opened up box checks. Yeah, because of course you have to think about it because they were made fairly close to each other.
yes, they were.
Uh
I mean, I enjoyed the performance in Hunt for Red
God, that's
October, and I
tough.
like it. I like it as a film, but I don't like it as well as I like this film.
It's a bigger movie. This is a movie that really focuses on just one key question.
Hmm.
And Hunt for Red October paints on a giant canvas. I mean, I really like the novel like way it goes about setting everything up at the beginning,
Sure.
where here's clearly a chapter about this person, here's a chapter about that person. Unfortunately, here's a chapter about Jeffrey Jones. That you, but then it's broken up like that,
Right, right.
and there's also Gates McFadden's terrible accent
Oh,
that is really bad. I mean, I'm sorry, but as a pro, she's
yeah, don't
naughty,
do that.
naughty.
Just get rid of that if you. Yes.
But and I like John McTiernan as a director. I think he had more of a future then he got a chance or gets a chance to
Mm,
really explore. I think he could have that movie is evidence that he could have and that he did go into brainier material. And that movie also contains. I'll say this: when I start to hear about the love of new movies in terms of their action, they got all the action and stuff like that. I
mhm.
always go back to Hunt for Red October because the most intense action scene for me is in that film. And it's when Jack Ryan goes into the water and there's that chance that the horse collar is moving around. I think maybe he's in the horse collar
Yeah,
for a while. And it's really clear that he may not make it into the boat.
right.
This is in the middle of a storm. And that is over an hour into the movie, I think. And that's the first action scene in the movie. And yet you care so deeply about it because the movie's taken its time to make you care about the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a wonderful filmmaking lesson, just right there. And storytelling lesson also.
Well, I mean, Hunt for Red October is all about the relationship between Ryan and the captain.
And
Anyway, I mean,
Ramius, yeah,
yes, it's totally about that and about establishing some kind of trust where there essentially politically is none, and
sure.
yeah. So it has to be man to man. They have to break down those barriers.
And I think this film that we've seen tonight is is much more about morality and philosophy.
Hmm.
And do we act on just a little bit? And the fact that you could tell Gene kind of wanted it to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
It had this very weird old school
The
Cold
the
War kind of.
the authority, active authority, blow up the planet. Yeah,
Sure, sure. I mean, it was very Doctor Strangelove
yeah, yeah.
in a lot of ways. I mean, there were moments that felt like they came right out of Doctor Strangelove, but were just taken seriously by
Mhm.
everybody, and good for them because their serious matters.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, we will leave this. We will probably talk off stage about what we're going to do next or something like that. Jewel will be back in what 9 days, something like that.
Yep.
8 or 9 days. So we got about
Week
a
and two
week,
days.
and it's a comeback tantamount to the feelings of Elvis returning from the grave in
Thank
the
you very much.
80s. Bill Bixby is going to host a
Yes,
special about Jewel coming up. I'm convinced of it.
uh,
I want to live in that world.
Jack Palance.
Exactly. But for now, I live in this world. So uh, I thank you for watching. I'm Patrick McCray.
I'm Alan Gallant. Much obliged.
Good night.